The planet is filled with ancient places whose origins still ignite curiosity. Cities once lost for centuries have re-emerged from jungle, desert, and stone. Many of them survived only because they were hidden, buried under forests, swallowed by the earth, or remembered solely by the people living nearby. Nature reclaimed their walls, covered their pathways, and concealed their stories beneath layers of vegetation. Some of these sites remained invisible from the ground, revealing their full shapes only from the sky. Others stood in remote corners of the world, unreachable for generations. Across continents, new archaeological findings continue to blur the line between natural formations and the work of ancient civilizations. Today we uncover remarkable sites built by cultures long gone, along with extraordinary discoveries still debated as either products of geology or masterpieces of human hands. Angkor, Cambodia. Hidden for centuries beneath a tangle of roots and vines, the ancient cities of the Khmer Empire slowly re-emerged in the jungles of Cambodia. Among them, Angkor Wat stands as the most iconic one of the largest religious monuments ever built. Rediscovered by French naturalist Henri Mouhot in 1860, its stone towers rising above the canopy left a deep impression on early explorers. Originally constructed as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu, Angkor Wat gradually evolved into a central Buddhist sanctuary. Its galleries hold endless reliefs depicting epics, battles, and celestial beings, all carved with astonishing detail. Nearby, the jungle continues reclaiming territories around Taprom, a temple where massive roots of ancient trees twist through walls and corridors. Merging nature and architecture into a single living sculpture. Not far away is the Bayon Temple, the last great state sanctuary of the Khmer Empire. Its most striking feature is the collection of countless stone faces, each wearing a calm, enigmatic expression. Some scholars interpret them as depictions of bodhisattvas, while others believe they represent King Jayavarman VII himself. These structures, cities, and waterways form one of humanity's greatest achievements, a monumental capital where architecture, spirituality, and the jungle intertwine. Lamanai, Belize. On the banks of the New River lies one of the longest inhabited Maya cities, Lamanai. Its name, meaning submerged crocodile, hints at the wildlife and waterways surrounding it. Like many Maya sites abruptly abandoned, Lamanai remained occupied for nearly 3,500 years. The ruins stayed hidden beneath centuries of vegetation. Until 1917, when British archaeologist and physician Thomas Gann documented the area and began its modern study. Because dense jungle surrounds the site, many visitors still arrive by boat along the river, a route reminiscent of how the ancient inhabitants traveled. The Jaguar Temple, one of the city's dominant structures, exemplifies Maya stonecraft at the base of its stairway. Large carved masks emerge from the facade, believed to portray protective deities watching over the city. Lamanai's ceremonial plazas, temples, and ball courts reflect a civilization deeply connected to astronomy ritual and the cycles of nature. Even today, the forest hums around the ruins, offering a glimpse of how the ancient Maya lived in balance with the environment. Tikal, Guatemala. Deep within Guatemala's Petén jungle stands the ancient city of Tikal. Once one of the most powerful centers of the Maya world. About 1,500 years ago, it flourished as a major political, economic, and military hub, dominating surrounding regions through alliances and warfare. Today, Tikal lies within the Maya Biosphere Reserve, the country's largest protected natural area. For centuries, dense vegetation concealed many of its structures beneath layers of soil and forest. In 1848, local authorities and explorers reached the ruins. And by the late 19th century, the first photographs showed pyramids and temples still choked by jungle growth. The site contains thousands of construction palaces, plazas, administrative buildings, and towering pyramids. Atop several pyramids stand temples where rituals and offerings once connected rulers with the gods. The Maya builders aligned many of these temples with solstices, equinoxes, and key celestial events, turning Tikal into both a political capital and an astronomical observatory. Despite its magnificence, Tikal was eventually abandoned approximately 11 centuries ago. Scholars propose multiple causes. Ecological stress, resource depletion. Internal conflicts or regional shifts in power, but the exact combination remains unresolved. Yonaguni Monument, Japan. Beneath the waters off Yonaguni Island, divers encountered one of Japan's greatest underwater puzzles in 1986. The submerged formations display straight edges, tiered platforms, and what appear to be geometric steps, features that quickly fueled debates among scientists and explorers. Some argue the structures were shaped by ancient human hands, possibly remnants of a long-lost settlement. Others contend they are entirely natural, formed by the fracturing of sandstone along horizontal and vertical planes. Channels, terraces, and flat surfaces create the impression of a sunken monument. Yet surrounding geological formations share similar patterns supporting the theory of natural origins. Whether man-made or sculpted by nature, the Yonaguni Monument remains an awe-inspiring sight, a silent colossus resting beneath the Pacific waves. Petra, Jordan. A narrow sandstone gorge carved by time and water leads into one of the Middle East's most extraordinary archaeological landscapes. At the end of this canyon, the first monumental facade appears an iconic gateway into the ancient Nabatean city of Petra. Once a thriving capital, Petra stood at the heart of caravan trade routes that linked Arabia with the Mediterranean world. The Nabateans, an Arab people, skilled in commerce and stone carving, adapted perfectly to the harsh desert terrain. Carving entire temples, tombs, and civic buildings directly into the rose-colored cliffs. Despite the arid setting, Petra once supported an impressive water management system. Canals, cisterns, and reservoirs captured and distributed precious rainfall, allowing agriculture and gardens to flourish among the mountains. By the 6th century, trade routes shifted, earthquakes damaged key infrastructure, and the city's prominence waned. Eventually, Petra was largely deserted and faded from outside memory until 1812, when Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt brought it to the attention of the Western world. Today, the contrast between monumental rock-cut facades and silent desert makes Petra feel like a city, paused mid-sentence, its people gone, its architecture still speaking. Teyuna Ciudad Perdida, Colombia. Deep inside Colombia's Sierra Nevada lies a city that remained hidden beneath thick rainforest for more than a millennium. Reaching this archaeological treasure demands a multi-day trek through humid jungle steep slopes and river crossings. There are no roads, no shortcuts, only the forest. It resurfaced in 1972 when treasure hunters encountered a sequence of stone terraces rising from the mountainside. This was Teyuna the Lost City, an ancient settlement of the Tyrona culture constructed nearly 300 years ago. Thousands may have lived here, scattered across terraces, carved directly into the mountain. These platforms are linked by an intricate network of stone paths and stairways, forming a vast, elevated city that blends into the surrounding landscape. The isolation that once hid it now protects it, allowing Teyuna to remain one of the most extraordinary and least altered archaeological sites in the Americas. Hegra Madain Salih, Saudi Arabia. After Petra's rediscovery, travelers began to hear rumors of another carved city in the desert, a place with similar monumental tombs, but far fewer visitors. That place is Hegra, also known as Madain Salih, hidden in the sands of northwestern Saudi Arabia. Explorers like Charles Montague Doughty documented the site in the 19th century, describing a landscape of isolated rock outcrops adorned with ornate facades. Hegra was the second most important city of the Nabatean kingdom after Petra itself. The surrounding sandstone formations were carefully sculpted into tombs belonging to people from different walks of life, wealthy merchants, officials, and members of the military elite. Each tomb bears inscriptions and decorative elements reflecting status and belief. Thanks to its remote position and the protection afforded by the desert, the rock-cut monuments have remained exceptionally well preserved. Sharp carvings, precise lines, and delicate details still stand out as if they were completed only a few generations ago. Together with Petra, Hegra helps reconstruct the story of a kingdom that mastered both commerce and stone, leaving messages carved into the desert itself. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. On a hill in southeastern Turkey lies a site that has reshaped our understanding of early human societies, Göbekli Tepe. Identified in 1963, it remained largely overlooked until archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began systematic excavations in 1995. Radiocarbon dating places its construction at nearly 12,000 years ago. Thousands of years older than the Egyptian pyramids or Stonehenge. This timeline challenges older ideas that complex monumental architecture could only emerge after the development of agriculture. Göbekli Tepe consists of circular and oval enclosures, each centered around two larger T-shaped stone pillars surrounded by smaller ones. The pillars bear finely carved reliefs of animals, foxes, snakes, birds, wild boars, as well as abstract symbols whose meanings remain unclear. The craftsmanship of the stonework suggests a group of highly skilled builders, even though the people of this era were still hunter-gatherers without pottery or metal tools. For reasons still unknown, the site was intentionally buried around 10,000 years ago, effectively sealing it from the elements and preserving it until its modern rediscovery. Sigiriya, Sri Lanka. Rising above the Sri Lankan plains, this immense granite monolith shelters the remains of a once powerful stronghold. In 1831, British officer Jonathan Forbes noticed the summit emerging above the jungle canopy, its slopes shrouded by dense vegetation. Tradition holds that King Kashyapa selected this rock as the site for a fortified palace due to its strategic vantage point. Reaching the summit requires passing through giant stone lion paws and climbing steep staircases fixed to the rock face. At the top lie the ruins of a royal complex courtyards, foundations, water reservoirs, and terraced gardens considered among the world's oldest landscaped designs. Pools and fountains still show evidence of advanced hydraulic engineering. From the air, the entire site resembles a monumental artwork set in stone. A fusion of architecture and natural formation unmatched in South Asia. Machu Picchu, Peru. High in the Peruvian Andes stands one of the most iconic remnants of the Inca world, Machu Picchu. Its terraces and temples sit among jagged peaks, often wrapped in drifting clouds, that lend the site an almost mystical presence. Although Hiram Bingham explored the Urubamba Valley in 1911 and publicized its existence internationally, local farmer Agustin Lizarraga had already reached the ruins years before. His account helped guide the explorers to the mountaintop city. The complex contains temples, royal residences, agricultural terraces, and water channels engineered with remarkable precision. Because the Incas left no written records explaining its function, its true purpose remains debated, possibly a royal retreat, a ceremonial center, or a sacred refuge of the imperial elite. It was likely abandoned shortly before or during Spain's arrival, its decline linked to epidemics or disruptions caused by conquest. Today, Machu Picchu endures as a breathtaking example of Inca urban planning and engineering harmonized with mountain terrain. Palpa geoglyphs, Peru. A few valleys away on the hillsides near Palpa, another set of monumental drawings decorates the Peruvian landscape. First documented in detail by Julio C. Tello in the 1920s, these geoglyphs share similarities with the Nazca Lines. But belong mostly to the earlier Paracas and Topara cultures. Unlike the Nazca figures etched on flat desert plains, the Palpa geoglyphs often occupy sloping hillsides, making them easier to view from nearby vantage points. Some designs depict stylized animals. Others show human-like figures with exaggerated facial features or distinct poses. One well-known grouping, nicknamed the Family, features figures with large eyes and expressive postures surrounded by other shapes that may represent animals or mythical beings. Along the coast, the famous Paracas candelabra dominates a sandy hillside above the sea. Its shape, part trident, part candelabrum, remains difficult to interpret. Some suggest it served as a navigational marker for sailors, a landmark visible from afar across the Pacific waters. Together, the Palpa and Nazca geoglyphs form a vast open-air gallery where overlapping cultures inscribed their beliefs and symbols directly into the land. Lost Cities of the Amazon, Ecuador Upano Valley. For decades, the Amazon rainforest was thought to be largely devoid of large pre-Columbian urban centers. Its dense canopy making surveys extremely difficult. However, recent work in Ecuador's Upano Valley has transformed that perception. Using advanced remote sensing technology and on-the-ground research, archaeologists reported in 2024 the presence of extensive ancient settlements hidden beneath the jungle vegetation. These interconnected sites were inhabited roughly between 2500 and 1500 years ago. Terraces, roads, platforms, and residential zones form a complex network of urban planning within the forest. Some structures may have served ritual purposes, while others functioned as housing or public spaces. Particularly intriguing are the carved stones and petroglyphs found scattered throughout the region. One elongated figure, for example, has been interpreted by some as representing a spirit or a yachik, a spiritual guide or shaman. Hundreds of symbols appear on rocks, spirals, animals, and abstract shapes that might depict instruments, deities, or mythological beings. The repeating spiral motif, also seen in other parts of South America, could refer to storms, snails, cosmic cycles, or sacred forces. Volcanic activity, especially eruptions from nearby volcanoes, may have contributed to the decline of these cultures. The settlements appear to have been abandoned suddenly, possibly due to catastrophic eruptions or sustained environmental stress. Even so much of this ancient urban landscape remains hidden, suggesting that the Amazon still conceals many archaeological secrets waiting to be revealed. Nan Madol, Micronesia. Off the eastern coast of Pohnpei, a mysterious city rises above shallow waters, Nan Madol, constructed on 92 artificial islands. Often referred to as the Venice of the Pacific, this ancient capital served as the seat of the Sodelur dynasty. The site was documented in 1874 by Polish researcher John Stanislaw Kubary, who described the geometric layout of basalt structures interconnected by narrow canals. Each islet was built by stacking large stones atop coral reefs, creating a floating urban complex unlike anything else in the ancient world. Some basalt blocks weigh as much as 50 tons, raising questions about how the builders transported and positioned them. Local legends speak of two sorcerer brothers who commanded a flying dragon to carry the stones, a myth that reflects the awe inspired by these constructions. Nan Madol may have been a ceremonial center, a royal residence, or a hub of political power. Its isolation and eventual decline in the 15th century left a quiet ghost city in the middle of the sea. A testament to human ingenuity in one of the world's most remote regions. Xiashui Buddha, China. Hidden in the forested mountains of Xiashui village rests one of China's most enigmatic stone carvings. Rediscovered in 2001, the colossal Buddha head remains partially concealed by trees and vegetation. Its age and creators uncertain. It is the largest stone-carved Buddha head known in Asia. Unlike the famous Leshan giant Buddha, this sculpture never reached completion. Carving began directly into the mountainside centuries ago. Yet for reasons lost to time, the work was abandoned and gradually reclaimed by moss and forest. Little documentation exists, leaving scholars unsure whether it belonged to a forgotten temple complex or an isolated spiritual monument. Today, the serene face emerging from the forest adds to its air of mystery, inviting questions with no clear answers. Nazca Lines, Peru. Across the dry plains of southern Peru, vast figures and lines stretch across the desert floor, visible fully only from the sky. In 1927, archaeologist Toribio Mejia Chespe reported these strange markings while crossing the area, though pilots may have noticed them earlier from the air. Created by the Nazca culture around 1,500 years ago. The designs include straight lines, spirals, geometric shapes, plant forms, and animal figures. From ground level, many appear as simple furrows, but from above, they take on astonishing precision and proportions. Some of the clearest figures include the hummingbird, whose delicate outline has led to debates about whether it truly represents a hummingbird, or other regional birds, such as the Andean condor. Another famous figure, the spider, reveals the creator's ability to keep perfect symmetry and scale over large distances. The spiral motifs, simple yet enigmatic mirror patterns seen in other ancient South American sites, from Amazonian rock art to Andean petroglyphs. Perhaps the most puzzling of all is the figure known as the astronaut. With its raised hand and large eyes, a design that has inspired interpretations ranging from shamanic symbolism to messages aimed at the gods. Despite many theories, astronomical calendar ritual pathways, ceremonial spaces, no single explanation fully resolves the mystery of why the Nazca created such enormous drawings meant to be seen from the sky. Karahan Tepe, Turkey. Not far from Göbekli Tepe, another prehistoric site adds even more depth to this era of early monumental construction, Karahan Tepe. Located only a short distance away, it was identified in the late 1990s and has since been recognized as part of the same broader cultural horizon. Karahan Tepe also features T-shaped pillars, stone enclosures, and intricate carvings, all created long before the appearance of settled farming communities in the region. Its age, estimated between 11,000 and 13,000 years, makes it one of the earliest known examples of large-scale architectural planning. The monolithic pillars and sculpted figures indicate the presence of specialized artisans and organized labor. Reliefs may represent animal spirits or symbolic scenes connected to rituals, seasonal cycles, or ancestor veneration. Together, Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe suggest that spiritual or ceremonial centers may have existed before permanent agricultural villages, reversing the traditional idea that religion and monumentality only followed after farming. Sacsayhuaman, Peru. Overlooking the city of Cusco, the monumental complex of Sacsayhuaman demonstrates the peak of Inca engineering skill. Some regard it as a temple to the sun. Others suggest it functioned as a fortress. Whatever its purpose, its construction reveals unparalleled mastery of stone. Spanish chronicler Pedro Sarmiento de Gamboa was among the first Europeans to describe it after arriving in Cusco in 1533. He wrote of massive terraces and immense walls built from stones so heavy and precisely shaped that even today a sheet of paper cannot fit between them. The Inca technique involved quarrying enormous blocks, transporting them from several kilometers away, and shaping each piece to interlock perfectly with its neighbors. Some stones weigh over 100 tons, yet they sit seamlessly in place. No mortar, no cement, only precision. The sheer scale of Sacsayhuaman and its resistance to earthquakes. Show that Inca builders understood both aesthetics and structural stability at an exceptional level.